Hello, church. It's good to be with you again. And it is shocking to me that it is October. I mean, like, this year has been the fastest year I can ever remember. Just so many things going on. And if it's October, it means pumpkins are right around the corner. So we hope that you've already chosen to be a part of this great community outreach that we're doing and have signed up to help support that. So anyway, we find ourselves near the end of James, and we pick it up today in verse 7. The half-brother of Christ writes the following statement: "Be patient then, brothers and sisters, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, patiently waiting for the autumn and spring rains. You too, be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near. Don't grumble against one another, brothers and sisters, or you will be judged. The judge is standing at the door." Well, this is probably not as confrontive as last week's passage was from James when he got on us about our wealth and our resources. But I think he's giving us equally hard advice. He's telling us to be patient. Can you right now in your head list 5 people you know that are really, really patient people? I don't think you can do it. And certainly I am not on your list. I am the worst, right? We are the kind of people that do not do delayed gratification well anymore. I mean, we have to have it instantly. I have a friend of mine who's about to get the new iPhone 15, and this is not a condemnation on the iPhone 15. Get one if you want to get one. But he just can't wait for it to happen. He's going to be first in line. He's going to be right there. And it just feels weird to me because my phone works okay. You know, we just are not patient people. And so when James comes and gives us this advice, he says, listen, be patient. You know, so I want to say a couple of things to us. There is a waiting room in life that we periodically spend time in. I don't think we spend our entire life in a waiting room. If you're a single woman and you have been waiting on the right man in your life, it feels like you've been in that waiting room maybe a long time. But in the overall scope of your life and how blissful and joyful your life will be when you patiently wait on the right man versus settling for the wrong man, that waiting room will bear fruit. It will be helpful. But the waiting room is a room that we move in and out of where we allow God time and space to work on the things that we can't see. And sometimes he's working on those things in us, right? And if we weren't in that waiting room, if we were in the chaos of the world and moving at our Mach 3 pace, it's entirely possible that we would miss this opportunity for God to work on us while we were in the waiting room. Secondly, I want to say to us, waiting is not the same thing as no. Periodically, God will tell us no. We have ridiculous prayer requests. We want things that we shouldn't have. We have first world problems we want to have solved. And God is like, don't be silly. No is my answer. But waiting is not always no. And we should not be quick to assume that waiting is no. It may be that God is, again, doing that good work in us. So I want to remind you what Psalm 27:14 says. It says, wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord. So waiting is a sign of trust. It is a mark of courage that we believe in a God who is doing more than we can imagine, even when we can't see him at work in the moment, right? So in the context of what was happening in the first century in Jerusalem, where James writes this, the Jews and the Christians and the Jewish Christians together are under horrible persecution. The Christians particularly are being persecuted by everybody. They are a minority group in town, and they are being abused and persecuted. And it just feels like it's horrible. It's unfair. When will it end? Right? And so James speaks to them, right? Be patient in your waiting for the Lord to work. Well, it would only be a short period of time later that Rome comes in and just completely sacks all of Jerusalem. And so the Lord removes his hand of protection from the very people that are abusing the Christian people and allows Rome to come in and destroy Jerusalem as we knew it at that time. So, church, I say to you that that all this waiting that James is talking about is no different for us today when we're waiting through a crisis, when we're waiting through a challenge, when we're waiting through uncertainty. Can you patiently wait? I love for the fact that James tells us in this passage to stand firm. It's consistent with what we've been talking about from the pulpit the last 3 or 4 weeks. Maybe there's a part of waiting that requires us to stand firm, to not yield, to not abandon our faith, to love our neighbors well, to be good to those around us. Maybe this is part of what's happening in the waiting, is will we trust God enough to continue to be the men and women of Christian character while we wait, or will there be another side of us that's much darker that comes out and creeps out when we don't get what we want? Lot to think about this morning, church, and I hope it helps you launch into a great week. I love you, and I can't wait to be with you again next week.